I want to talk to the person who's Googling symptoms at night. You've been to the doctor, maybe more than once, and your labs came back normal. But your body absolutely does not feel normal. You feel exhausted in a way that sleep doesn't fix. Your heart races for no clear reason. Foods you used to tolerate now bother you. Maybe it's brain fog, dizziness, pain, or autoimmune flares. And at some point, maybe someone even said to you, it might just be stress. And what that usually feels like is they think all of this is in your head. But what I want to explain to you is when stress becomes physical, it's not imagined. It is your nervous system. And stay tuned, I'm going to show you one small, simple thing that you can do with your body that takes just about 30 seconds that actually changes the signal that your brain is sending to your symptoms. And I'll walk you through it in a minute, but first, to make it successful, it's helpful to have a general understanding why your body is doing this. Just like how it's a little bit easier to exercise when you know some of the positive effects it's having on your body. So, just to share a little bit of a personal story, years ago, I went all in trying to help get rid of a ton of icky symptoms like chronic fatigue, fibromyalgia, long COVID, and other autoimmune conditions, you name it. I did the autoimmune protocol diet and I removed so many foods: gluten, dairy, eggs, nuts, seeds, nightshades, coffee, vinegar, yeast. And to be clear, some of that actually did help removing them because certain foods were irritating my system. And calming them down reduced the symptoms, but something confusing started happening. My diet kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Maybe you've been there. And my symptoms didn't really keep getting better and better. But I noticed something that I really couldn't explain. I could eat the same exact food on 2 different days, and one day I reacted one way, and another day I didn't even react to it. And then my worst flare didn't happen after eating, it happened after a stressful meltdown that one of my kiddos had. And it took me a long time to realize my body wasn't only reacting to what I was eating, it was reacting to what my brain believed was not safe. And that's the aha. My nervous system was so dysregulated from stress and life events over time that stress was causing me physical symptoms. So my nervous system was so dysregulated through that stress, it was causing those actual physical symptoms in my body. I wasn't making it up, and neither are you. This doesn't mean that food sensitivities aren't real. They are. I had pretty much all of them, and thankfully I've rewired my brain and my nervous system, so now I can eat all the foods. Your immune system doesn't operate separately from your nervous system. When your brain is in protection mode, it lowers your tolerance threshold, including to foods. So I didn't just have a sensitivity to foods, I had a sensitive nervous system. I had a dysregulated one. Your brain has one primary job, and that is protection. All day long, your brain is deciding, am I safe right now? And the part that doesn't really seem fair is that your brain doesn't only respond to real emergencies or real life trauma, it responds to ongoing pressure, to everyday stress all day long. So if you're about to get T-boned while you're driving on the road, you want your brain to kick it into high gear and protect you. But when you have things like too many emails, or hearing mom through the closed bathroom door, or being asked what's for dinner over and over and over again, maybe rushing to appointments and drop-offs and being the one that's holding it all together, your brain doesn't label that life stress and put it into a different box to deal with later. It's kind of similar to, I've been trying to put all the non-urgent emails into a folder, literally labeled come back to later. But your brain doesn't know how to do that, unfortunately. And when you already have a dysregulated nervous system from life events, from situations, things that have happened to you, your brain labels all of these situations, big or small, as one thing: danger. And then what happens is your brain shifts your body into survival mode. We've maybe heard that term before, but what happens is your biology actually changes. And how that happens, well, simply put, is that blood flow moves from important things like your digestion, where gut issues come from, balancing hormones, keeping your immune system balanced, because your brain thinks what is most important is to kick it into high gear and puts attention on things like your heart rate, racing heart, breathing, muscle tension, and alertness. To do what? To protect you. And this is the helpful response if you're in real danger. But your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a life-threatening emergency about to get hit by a car or a kid on a scooter and 37 unread text messages, or a school email with a gentle reminder, or your kiddo screaming for the screen time password while you're in a Zoom meeting. Your nervous system reacts the same way, whether you consciously think it should or not. And your body sends those threat signals up to your brain, which is why I said earlier, this is the part that doesn't really seem fair. If your nervous system stays in that protective state long enough, whether that be from perceived threat or true threat, your body begins to adapt to it. And that is when physical symptoms begin to add up. Not imagined ones, not exaggerated, physiological, actual symptoms like gut issues and migraines and chronic fatigue and food reactions and digestion issues and dizziness and rashes and hormone imbalances and chronic fatigue and chronic pain. I think I said that. Autoimmune flares, long COVID symptoms, because your body is responding to a signal that it's in danger. And when that protective signal stays on, your body shifts away from the repair and regulation, repairing your gut here, and into protection. And that's when symptoms start appearing. And that is when tests can come back as normal, and medical testing can get confusing if they come back saying everything is normal, because most tests look for those structural issues or clear signs of disease, as they should. But when your body is reacting to stress, the problem is more functional. It's how your brain is signaling your body. Even when there's no visible damage, you can feel very unwell and still be told everything looks okay. And that gap is where you might start thinking something is terribly wrong, or that you're somehow imagining it. But the truth is, you're not imagining it, and I wasn't either. So I mentioned earlier that your body reacts the same way, whether you consciously think it should or not, sending those threat signals to your brain. And the truth is, you can't think your way out of a survival response. So sometimes you might hear the phrase as a top-down approach, because thinking starts in your brain. And you can tell yourself as much as you want, relax, 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 relax. But the nervous system doesn't respond to logic, it responds to experience, starting within the body. And that is known as a bottom-up approach, because you're starting with an experience in the body, like touch or breathing or orienting. And then that tells the brain that you're safe, which brings us to that regulation exercise I'd like to show you. So if we know now that we can't think our way to safety because our brain doesn't know the difference, right, between those actual emergencies, being hit by a car, or just stressful emails, which are very stressful, I want to teach you something about your brain that actually does understand, that starts with experience rather than that thinking part, that logic part. And it's not using like positive thinking or affirmations. We've all, tried those, and they can be helpful at times, but in the moment of stress, it's simply a signal, pretend signal here, that tells your brain and your body that you are safe in this moment. And if you can just do this with me, I'll describe it maybe first, and then we can kind of do it together. So put both your feet on the floor, and then just slowly look around the room that you're in and name 5 things you can see out loud or in your head. You're not really, analyzing them, just noticing. I see a window, a candle, a water bottle, skinny pop, matcha tea. Now with one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly for the experience, that somatic piece, take one slow breath in through your nose. And when you exhale, sigh it out. And try and inhale and then exhale a little bit longer than the inhale. So this exhale tells your brain to relax. And as you're doing that, just say in your head, this is good for me. I am safe. And we'll do that again in a second, but I want to acknowledge that I know that this isn't rocket science. I know that you have probably taken deep breaths or named 5 things that you see before. And I'll tell you 3 things that are kind of like the secret sauce to making this work even more. And number 1 is do this in the moment of stress. That can actually rewire new brain patterns. Do it in the moment. And 2, tell yourself while you're doing it, this is good for me. This is good for me. And 3, believe that this works, because we know what we know about physiology of thought, and proven by science is that when we believe something will work, it's actually more likely to do so, right? So go ahead and name 5 things you see to orient. And then put one hand on your heart and one on your belly and breathe in through your nose. And as you exhale, sigh it out for a bit longer. This is good for me. I am safe. Good. Super easy, right? Don't get stuck in your head if you're exhaling for a longer amount of seconds. It doesn't matter like that nitty gritty of how many seconds you're breathing in and out. Just that you're doing it in the moment is what's really most important. Because what you just did is you showed your brain your environment, and the long exhale tells the lower part of your brain, your brainstem that runs your autonomic nervous system. It runs automatic body functions. And so it's saying, I am not in danger right now. I am safe. And this is how we begin changing symptoms, one moment at a time. Just by changing that signal in your brain that sends the body in the moment of unsureness. So with this, you're not just trying to convince your thoughts that you're okay. We're trying to repeatedly send signals of safety to that part of your brain that controls the body. And then your nervous system can relax and rest and digest. So more attention goes to that digestion of your food instead of overworking to try and keep you safe. And when stress becomes physical, your body isn't betraying you, it's just being protective. It's trying to keep you safe. And healing happens when your brain receives enough of those safety signals in the moment, especially, to stop running survival patterns all day long. So I made a free guided audio that helps calm your nervous system and remind you that you are safe. You can listen to it anytime. I'll link it below. Know that you can start small. You don't have to fix your whole body at once. This is one gradual thing at a time. You're just teaching your brain a new signal. And your body learns from repetition, right? Repetition over and over. One easy place to practice this tool is maybe try doing it every time you arrive somewhere, like when you arrive at your house, or you get to your car, or maybe you just get to a different room. Just pause for a few seconds, look around the room, name 5 things. You don't have to, have it with your hand up. Take that deep breath in to ground you and tell your brain and body, this is good for me. I am safe. I believe that this works. I am safe. Know that you are making a difference to calm your nervous system.